really appreciate this opportunity. You know, Mark has never called me and talked to me in person or spoken to me about this, but when he goes on Fox News, the network where he hosts his show, and calls me crazy and refers to Marjorie Taylor Greene and her ilk, well, he's insulting my entire district. He's also insulting the tens, hundreds of millions of Americans that voted in 2024 to end foreign wars and end foreign aid because we're absolutely sick of it. And we're $37 trillion in debt. And Americans on both sides of the aisle are frankly sick and tired of their hard-earned tax dollars going to murder people in foreign countries, going to pay the industrial defense complex massive contracts so that their products, their weapon systems can be sold to foreign countries to murder people. That's not what America wants. So when Mark Levin talks about my ilk, he is insulting, I would say, most Americans in this country, Eric, and he's insulting big time people that are under the age of 40, because it's the younger generations. It's my children's generation, 22, 25, and 27, my kids, that's their ages. And those younger generations don't have a future in America because of Mark Levin and the people like him and their policies that have destroyed our country for decades now. $37 trillion in debt. Inflation is so high. Groceries are expensive. Bills are expensive. People can't afford rent. Credit card debt is at an all-time high. And young people today cannot ever even dream of buying a house. That's the America that Mark Levin has fought for. That's the America that Mark Levin loves. And Mark Levin, let's be really honest, is Israel first. He's not America first. So if it were up to Mark Levin, America would fight every single war that the secular government of nuclear-armed Israel wanted to drag America into, because that's what's been happening for a long time. And if anyone's paying attention, and I would say Fox News better start paying attention, but their problem is most of the people that watch Fox News are very much up in age, the baby boomer generation, who I love. Those are my parents, but that's their biggest audience. That's not the future of America. And I know that's hard and tough talk, but the future of America is my children's generation, Eric, and they don't have a future right now because we have Mark Levin, the neocons, and the establishment in Washington, D.C., pushing as hard as possible to shove us into more foreign wars. And they would love to see it explode all over the world. And when I say America first, Eric, I absolutely mean it. And I could care less what Mark Levin or anybody else has to say, because guess what? Mark Levin doesn't live in my district and didn't vote for me. When I say America first, I'm talking about the Georgia businesses in my district. I'm talking about the families that live in my district. I'm talking about every age person, whether right or left, that lives in my district and needs for Washington, D.C. for once to finally care about this country and Americans' needs. And that hasn't been happening for a long time. So I will not apologize. I am completely unapologetic for being America first. And I'm actually getting to the point where I'm America only, because that's the only thing that should matter. And my job title, Eric, I'll say this one last thing. It's representative in the United States House of Representatives. My job is to only represent United States citizens and to represent Georgia's 14th district. And that's exactly what I'm doing. So I don't care what Mark Levin has to say. All he does is screech and yell at people on his stupid, pathetic show that hardly anyone ever watches. And frankly, this country is really sick and tired of his type.
I have to put this out there. I was at Fox for 12 years. No, don't begrudge anything of that. Brett Baer is a good guy. I've liked Brett for a long time, but there's a little technique in television. You produce shows I've been doing this for 20 years. You produce shows, you know how to handle things. What he did was they took your comment from this show. It was word for word from this show, and they put it up on a screen because they didn't want to have you on this network. They didn't want to give Real America's Voice the airtime to say that we're creating content that people are listening to. A lot of people who were probably watching last night disagreed with Mark Levin, even on Fox News, probably agreed with you. And they wouldn't give them the opportunity to know where that came from. It's just a cheap little shot. Getting back to what Mark Levin said, my problem with what Mark said was, I like him. He's a decent guy. He's a smart guy. But for him to say that you're wrong for wanting to pull out of any sort of support for Israel, Ukraine, and anywhere else in the damn world we're supporting foreign wars. That's somehow not MAGA anymore. You are, my dear, representing what the real true north of MAGA wants. And it really elected you and Donald Trump for.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And I've been on the ground all over this country, and this country is desperately begging for Washington, D.C. to stop sending their money in foreign aid to foreign conflicts, to foreign wars. And of course, we support Israel and we wish them well. But the reality is, and this needs to be said loud for everyone to hear, that is a secular government of Israel. They are a nuclear armed nation. They have proven to the entire world that they are more than capable of not only defending themselves, but practically wiping out their enemies, because that's what they're doing in Gaza. They are completely wiping it out. And I've used the term genocide, and I think that's the right term to use. And so Israel is an incredible country. Let me tell you the other great things in Israel. They have state-funded healthcare. State-funded healthcare. They also have a very big abortion policy. So if you're a Christian in America, Israel is state-funded, and they provide abortions to women up to 6 months and even thereafter if it gets approved by a committee. So Christians, you need to understand what you're supporting when you blindly support this country. They also have state-funded college.
If I may,